Before we talk about how to adjust the basal rate of the Equil insulin pump, let's first explain what a basal rate is. Basal insulin is the pump's way to simulate the secretion of non-mealtime insulin for the purpose of maintaining a target blood glucose level when no food is consumed. Even if a non-diabetic person fasts all day, there is still a small amount of insulin secreted. At the time of pump startup, the most important basal rate settings are made using the settings wizard in consultation with your physician. Specifically, these settings are the maximum basal rate, base basal rate, and the temporary basal rate. You may also check out the settings wizard video for more information. It is possible to reset them again from the home screen. Settings. Insulin delivery settings. Remember, when we set the basal rate, we do not exceed the maximum basal rate value. Pump settings won't allow this either, as a safety precaution to prevent human errors. The base basal rate is the default basal rate for all the programs, and in the next sections we will learn to edit it according to our needs. From the home screen, press the basal function button. We will see the 3 basal program tabs out of 7 programs that the pump can run on. Through the touch screen, you can navigate between them. You're looking at data for a program that's a bit lighter. The top row will display the total basal amount, the status of the program, whether it is activated or not, and a list of the basal program periods with the associated values and time. Swipe down in this area to scroll and see hidden list entries. Any value in this list will always be less than the maximum basal rate. The bottom of the screen contains basal program actions buttons, which can be used to activate a program or change its settings. If it is your first time editing the basal rate program, you will see a default base basal rate of 0.5 units per hour and a daily basal amount of 12 units. If we rotate the PDA to landscape orientation, this will activate the basal program graph mode. The vertical axis of the chart represents the basal rate, while the horizontal axis represents time for one day, 24 hours. Since it is set to a fixed value and we did not specify any basal program periods, it is therefore presented as a straight line. However, after setting the program, the different periods of the base rate will be displayed in the form of a list, and it'll have a graphical display like this. Obviously, the basal rate varies from time to time during the day as a result of the type of activities that are performed throughout the day. Additionally, different activities may be scheduled on different days, which would require setting up entirely different programs. Switch between them, activating one and canceling the other. For instance, workday routines differ from those on weekends. Fasting and hormonal change days differ from normal days, etc. Equil pumps provide a quick basal program setup option so that editing the basal program can be done quickly and easily. Enter Edit Mode. Select the top row below the program name. Click on the Edit icon. The basal initial setup window will pop up. Using the minus and plus buttons to adjust the total daily basal, select which time period segments you would like, 24 or 6. After entering these settings, the system will automatically assign basal time periods to the basal program. To edit any of the time periods, press the Edit icon for it, and in the pop-up window, set the start and end time and its basal rate value. Note, the changes we made to the time period may also change slightly the total daily basal amount. We can also delete a basal time period by clicking on the cancel icon. In this case, the time period will revert to the base basal rate value. Note: the PDA may merge adjacent time periods of the same basal rate value. Additionally, a basal program can also be edited in graphical display. Click and hold an area on the graph. The selected period will be darker. We can navigate between different periods with the left and right arrows. The same can be done with a touch screen. Same as in portrait mode, this icon will pop up the basal rate settings window. By clicking the cancel icon, we can also cancel any period. You can see the chart change when we cancel a time period and the value reverts to the basal value. This icon exits and cancels the changes we made. Click this to save your settings in exit edit mode. Note: we can use the touchscreen to navigate between basal programs when we're not in edit mode. However, changing the name of the base program is possible in portrait mode. Enter edit mode. Press the Change Basal Program Name button to open the Change Name dialog box and give it a new name. After completing and editing the naming of the basal program, click the Save Settings button. The program can now be activated by clicking on the Activate button. On the confirmation dialog box, select OK. The current basal program's name will be shown here on the home screen. But if we are editing an active program, and once we are done with the changes and save it, Update Pump dialog box will pop up. Select Cancel to discard the changes, or click OK to apply the changes to the pump's current basal program. We explained earlier that basal programs are tailored to meet the needs of pump users under different circumstances. In certain situations, like when exercise is canceled, or travel occurs unexpectedly, or when you get sick, it may be appropriate to temporarily administer a different basal rate than the current active one. Equil's temporary basal rate option could do this. If we want to use this option, it has to be activated first and after consulting with your physician. Either from the Settings Wizard, page 2, or from Settings, Insulin Delivery Settings, Temporary Basal Rate. The temporary basal option could be only used within the current active basal program, as after activating the program, the same button for activation will turn into Temporary Basal Rate. It is now in green since we already activated the temporary basal option. If not, you will always see this button in gray. Press the Temporary Basal Rate button to bring up the Settings dialog box. Enter the temporary basal rate value as a unit per hour according to the settings we made earlier. Specify the amount of time. Click the Start button. The PDA will send the command to the pump to start administering the updated rate, and the home screen will show the temporary basal status. Please note that all the information in the video is intended to explain the functionality of the Equil pump basal rate. However, the daily basal dose, base basal rate, and other parameters, timing, and values are ultimately decided by the attending physician and after training provided by Microtech Medical's accredited bodies. Diabetes Cloud. Live with freedom.